As it turned out, Anna had never actually known my parents at all. She was a scam artist who was going to take the money from my grandparents and the jewelry she sold and run off with her young boyfriend. My name is Marie, and I'm 30 years old. I live on my own now, but I still live in the same city as my grandparents, who raised me after my parents died in a car crash when I was young. Growing up, they were able to meet my needs and help me excel in school. It wasn't a perfect life, and they didn't spend much money on fun things we didn't need, like cool toys or family trips, but I still grew up feeling loved and supported. As I got older, I came to realize that my grandparents didn't spend much because they were saving up their money for their retirement and my inheritance after they died. During high school, their health began to decline, and I spent more and more of my free time taking care of them instead of the other way around. It was a rough time, not only because I was worried about my grandparents and losing them early, but because I didn't have much time to hang out with my friends or to apply to colleges and look for scholarships. To make matters worse, the colleges that I was able to apply to got back to me, and I got into my first choice. I was even eligible for a scholarship that would pay for my tuition, so my grandparents wouldn't need to pay for it out of pocket. The only problem was that the school was across the country, and my grandparents were doing worse than ever. I knew I couldn't just attend my dream school and leave them behind to suffer. I was at a loss for what to do, and I felt guilty. My grandparents and I always planned for me to go to college and get a good career, and none of us wanted me to lose that opportunity. The only way they would be taken care of was if I didn't go to college and stayed around to help them. It wasn't the path we wanted to take, but at the time it seemed like our only option. Just before graduation, I told my friends about our struggle. It doesn't look like I'll be heading to college after all.
What?
Why not?
My grandparents are too sick now. I can't just leave them in that state. They can't take care of themselves even when I'm around. Leaving them to fend for themselves while I'm across the country would just be cruel.
Why not find a caretaker for your grandparents?
Yeah, that way someone will be watching out for them and you can attend your dream school without a problem.
I don't know. My grandparents and I only have each other. I'm not sure if I want a total stranger coming into their house and staying with them all the time.
It's better than worrying about them from across the country or missing out on going to your dream college.
Besides, you have to move out and live on your own eventually.
Yeah, at some point, someone else is going to have to take care of your grandparents for you anyway.
I guess you're right. I still want to talk this over with my grandparents and see what they think. I spoke with my grandparents that night about getting a caretaker for them. They were hesitant to accept help from someone outside of our family, but they didn't want to keep me from going to college, so they decided to go along with it. Knowing how my grandparents and I felt, my friends had arranged for their parents and family members to check in on them every day and make sure their needs were met. They'd all met my grandmother and grandfather multiple times, so my grandparents didn't feel like they were letting strangers into their house. They seemed happy with the arrangement, and I was able to go to college like we always planned. After 4 years, I moved back home and planned on becoming their sole caretaker once again. It was rather difficult now that I had to find a good-paying job to be able to support all three of us. And once I finally did, it required me to be out of the house all day long, so I wouldn't be around to take care of my grandparents. We had to look for a caretaker again. My friends and their families had their own lives to worry about, so this time I knew we had to bite the bullet and hire someone from an agency. I had only been looking for a couple days when there was a knock on our front door, and when I answered, a middle-aged woman was standing there.
Hello, is this the Anderson household?
Yes, now who are you?
I'm Anna. I was a friend of your parents before they passed away all those years ago.
A friend? Of my parents? I could hardly believe it. I didn't have many memories of my parents before they died, so meeting a friend of theirs felt like fate. I immediately let her inside and introduced her to my grandparents. Anna told us stories of my parents from when she knew them, most of which my grandparents had never heard. We all just brushed it off. Children don't always tell their parents everything after all. Then Anna brought up the fact that we were looking for caretakers.
Am I to understand that you need someone to help your grandparents during the day?
Yes, that's right. My job has a great salary, but it requires me to be out of the house until dark, and Grandma and Grandpa need someone around to help them.
Well, I know you just met me, but from my friendship with your parents, I feel like I know so much about your grandparents already, and I'm in between jobs. Why don't I take care of them?
It sounded like a perfect deal. Anna was best friends with my mom, so she was basically family already. I still talked it over with my grandparents, and they quickly agreed to the deal. Anna started working the very next morning as soon as I left for work. The arrangement went well for a good while. Anna was home during the day and made sure my grandparents ate well and took their medicine, and she was able to meet all their needs. They couldn't have asked for anyone better. And then, when I was at home during my paid time off, I noticed things around the house, jewelry and small valuables, had been misplaced or were missing entirely. Things weren't where I would leave them, and my grandparents didn't know what was going on either. The only explanation was Anna. Hey, Anna.
Yes.
Have you noticed anything going missing around the house? Things not where you left them?
No, I don't know anything about that.
She seemed like she was telling the truth, so we all just accepted her word and moved on. It didn't cross our minds again until I noticed money going missing.
Marie, would you be a dear and get some more medicine for us?
There should be money in the desk drawer.
Of course! I'll be back as soon as I can. But when I went to the desk drawer, I couldn't find any money inside. My grandparents were sick, but they weren't forgetful, so I knew they hadn't forgotten to put the money there. There's no money.
But there has to be. I put it there this morning.
Ask Anna. She must have seen it when she was looking in there a while ago.
That was when I knew Anna had to be the one taking and misplacing everything. She was always in the house when things went missing, and I know it wasn't the rest of us. I just needed to be able to catch her in the act. Anna, since you've been doing such a wonderful job taking care of my grandparents, I wanted to get you something.
A teddy bear. How cute and thoughtful. Thank you.
Of course. I have to head back to work today. I'll see you tonight. All I had to do was wait and let Anna walk herself into the trap, and it worked. The next morning, the police arrived at the house and came looking for Anna. As soon as she heard the sirens of the police cruisers and looked outside, she began to panic. She tried to run out of the house through the backyard, but she didn't get very far before she slipped in a patch of mud and fell down. My grandparents and I had come to the window to watch, and we couldn't help laughing at her, on the ground and covered in mud. The officers caught up to her very quickly after that and put her in handcuffs before bringing her down to the police station. Once they sat her down in an interrogation room, she found her voice again.
What is the meaning of this? I haven't done anything wrong.
This video begs to differ. The police brought in a television and a video began to play. It showed Anna snooping around the house when she was alone and taking another jewelry and money that me and my grandparents had left out. Once she pocketed the money, she got a call from someone.
Oh, hi, James. You called at the perfect time. I just collected more money and jewelry to sell. These morons just keep it lying around for anyone to take.
Anna, can you bring me my medicine?
Ugh, hold on a moment, James. Shut up. I'll get to you when I get a minute. Sorry about that. The annoying couple here is always asking for something.
Anna, it's time for lunch. Can you make us some food?
Do it yourself. They're always asking me to do things for them. I can't wait to get out of here. Just think about it. In a few more months, I'll have taken all the money and valuables they can spare, and we'll be heading off to Europe before they even realize I'm gone.
As it turned out, Anna had never actually known my parents at all. She was a scam artist who was going to take the money from my grandparents and the jewelry she sold and run off with her young boyfriend. When she saw the post, I made online about needing someone to care for my grandparents. She did a little research and made up a backstory about having been friends with my mom. The police did a little investigating and found that we weren't even the first family she had done this to. She had a history of taking care of older people and gaining their trust just to steal money from underneath their noses and run off with it. She was successful too, until I gave her the teddy bear with a hidden camera inside of it. Because there was video proof of what she'd done, and a trail, she was arrested and charged with fraud and theft, and she went to jail. When my boss found out about what happened, she gave me a raise and helped me find a legitimate caretaker through an agency that would help my grandparents. Thankfully, there were no issues that time. My grandparents died recently, and I was thankful that we'd gotten Anna out of our lives by then. Now I know that my family can rest in peace without having to worry about me dealing with a con artist chasing after money.